Gina. Welcome to week 2 of onboarding.
Woo!
Woo! So excited to be here. Really excited for today's training. I think Amanda's going to be joining us in about 30 minutes. She's just finishing up work and she'll be hopping on live.
Cool.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about getting really clear on your offer, and we're also going to talk about how to manage and keep track of your leads as they come in. So I want to start off by just checking in with each other. Gina, how's your emotional and mental health today?
Pretty good. Pretty good. The day has like flown by, so that's my only complaint right now. But otherwise doing good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny how that happens sometimes. And it's always a bit of a trip for me being like, I'm just starting my day. It's like 10:30 here. And you're probably just winding down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that definitely makes sense. The day flew by for you, but you're doing good. You're doing good. I know we talked about some of your wins in the chat, which is so exciting. Lots of good stuff happening.
Lots of good things happening. I can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah, same. Super excited for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I want to check in with you about how things are going since last week, what we talked about with your Notion hub and getting everything set up, planning out your social media, and also staying accountable with your social media habits. Do you have any like takeaways, any sharing, any questions that you want to dive into before we get started?
Yeah, doing good. I got my my hub all set up and it is very customized and I'm obsessed with it. I love the way that it looks. I've been using it every day. Like I'll just get on my computer and it's like the first thing that I look at because it has everything I need for life. So I'm loving it. My social media habits have been a lot better because I know that that was an area that needed a little bit of improvement, and I was like, now is the time. So I've been a lot better about that this week, and I've been tracking it also on my hub. I did want to ask you, I know that there are ways to set up social media blocks through the iPhone. I just don't know how to do it. I'm wondering if you do.
Yeah, for sure. Let me see real quick. And this might be something I can just record a video for you.
Sure.
I'll just do that. I'll record a video for you and I'll throw it in Slack.
That'd be amazing.
Because I'll need to find exactly where it is in my settings.
Okay.
But yeah, you can definitely do it through the iPhone, and you can track your screen time and all of that through the iPhone too, which is really, really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been using the accountability tracker?
Yeah.
How has that been? Has that been helpful for you?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. I like it because like I think about it, you know, when I'm not on my hub, like if I go to get on my phone, I'm like, I think about like that check mark that I'm gonna have to check at the end of the day, and I'm like, ooh, I don't want to check the bad one. I don't want to check that doom scroll. So just having that like mental note of it has been helpful. And having me make better choices.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that that's been helpful for you. It's such a thing for me also, just being like, I want to get that check mark. Like I want to see the good habits like throughout the weeks and months.
Yeah, like I gotta get the gold star.
Exactly. Yeah, accountability tools are great because I think we all really want that gold star, but we don't know that we're not getting the gold star until we have some way to actually visually see it, at least for us like visual learners.
Yeah.
Awesome. And how is your social media planning been going? Did you get some social media? I know you've been also like tweaking your feed and everything, but did you have a chance to plan out like a week of social media content?
Um, yes and no. I have definitely been working on my social media more than I have been in the last like month or two. So I am taking that as a big win in itself. I posted a couple stories, which I haven't done for a while. So that was definitely a win. And then I did get one reel finalized, like everything. I'm just waiting to post that. And then I have a couple ideas that are in various stages of the process. So and I also found a lot of older videos that I'm like, this is totally content. I just need to edit it. And then also going back through my social media all this week, I'm like, this is content that I could just redo and repost, or not even necessarily redo, but just kind of repurpose. So I feel like I have a lot to work with right now. So,
Yeah.
and then,
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. Yeah, and you're using your content planner, your content calendar to kind of like keep track of all this.
yeah.
Okay. Awesome. That's great. Yeah, it's super helpful to even just be like, okay, I'm going to take like 30 minutes to just go through and see what old posts I want to repurpose and then just put them on that calendar. And then you can come back and make all the tweaks and edits. But just so you have it on the calendar, it's going to tell your mind like this is a priority to come back to this and actually tweak it and then schedule it out or post it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how to schedule posts out like through Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool. That's super helpful because I'll like get a spontaneous idea and I'll make a reel and I'll even write the caption right then and there. And then what I'll do is I'll just make sure I copy the caption and go and drop it into the calendar and make sure I save the video to my phone. And then I'll just go ahead and schedule it for a date that I know I want to schedule something for before I even put it in the calendar, like if it's a spontaneous idea. But I always go back and still put it in the calendar so that I can keep track. And if you want to repurpose that in the future, it's so much easier to just already have it in there and then click duplicate and change the date.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have all the assets right there ready to go for the
Mm-hmm.
next time you want to repurpose it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you personally, when you're using the content calendar, do you keep a running list of everything you've ever had on there, or do you delete stuff off after a while, specific posts?
I leave everything on the calendar. Because the calendar view, you'll only see what's ahead like that month.
Yeah.
So I leave all of the past stuff on there. Because if I want to go in and I want to repurpose stuff or I want to go like, just kind of see what's in there, I'll go to a different view, like a list view, or I'll just scroll back into the previous months and I'll look and see what performed well and find it on there and then repost it, pull it back up and repost it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's also like time saver, right? Like we don't need to take the time to go in and delete old stuff from our content calendar because it's just data for us to pull from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, welcome, Amanda, to week 2 of onboarding. I know you might not be able to talk right now if you're wrapping up work and kind of in transition. But I just want you to know I'll leave some time at the end for you and I to connect a little bit more about where you're at, how you're doing with everything. Just so you know, you don't need to feel pressured to come on and share right now, but I will leave space for you at the end. Okay. So I also want to check in with both of you, but Gina, right now, how are you doing with accessing the training hub, the back office? Have you been able to access that well?
You're talking to Amanda, right?
I'm talking to you.
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
It's it's okay. I was talking to Amanda.
I'm
Amanda,
so sorry.
I was just saying that Amanda is, I know, wrapping up and in transition, so she might not be able to like talk right now. So I was asking, I just wanted to check in with you, Gina, how you're doing accessing the training hub and back office.
I am so sorry. Yeah, I'm doing good with it. I haven't been on it too much because, well, there's not a lot of our content in there, but I did go back and watch our first training. So,
So,
yeah, I'm just looking at it again to see if I have any questions. No, I'm good with everything on this so far.
okay,
Yeah.
cool, cool. Just wanted to make sure it was like easy to access and
Yeah.
you have it linked and everything.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So a few like logistical things before we get into the training for today. Next week is our last onboarding session before we go and change our schedule to regular Tuesdays, alternating group coaching, accountability calls, and group training sessions. So real quick, I just want to let you guys know the group accountability sessions. These are going to be open coaching calls where you can come with your questions. We're going to talk about wins. We're going to share like where are we at? What do we need support with? And then I can go in more depth with you guys on specific things that you bring to accountability. The group trainings are super important to attend. These are going to be on specific topics. So if you are struggling with something specific in your business and it's something bigger that would benefit the whole community more so than just something we go deep in on accountability, like specific, more like one-on-one support, that's where we're going to address those bigger topics in the group trainings. So if you have something specific you're struggling with in your business that you want to bring to me to do a training on, then you can always request trainings in that Slack channel, the training request Slack channel, and I'll create something for it for that week. So all of our trainings will be on Tuesdays. After next week, our last onboarding session is Thursday, same time. And then I also want to let you guys know that my next 2-day event is coming up next Monday and Tuesday, June 17th and 18th. Super excited. It's going to be the same content as the 2-day event I did last month. But if you guys want to come and like receive that value again, you are more than welcome to come and invite, some friends, anyone who you think would benefit from it. And I'm going to drop real quick the link for the guest pass in the chat here so that you guys can send that to anybody who you want to invite. And they'll go through that process of having their confirmation call and getting onboarded to the event.
When is it again?
June 17th and 18th is the next one. But if you have someone who can't make it that soon, because it's Monday and Tuesday, I'm doing another event in June, and it'll be the same content and everything. So I can get them on for that one too. And I'm also working on an on-demand version as well. That'll be interactive, where people can watch through it and like connect with me through the process of watching it too.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I'll let you guys know when that rolls out also, so you can share that as well. Okay, cool. Any questions about any of the logistics?
I'm good.
Cool. All right. Well, let's get into it. I am so excited that you guys are here, and it is super, super important to me that you guys experience success in your business. And not because it benefits me or the mastermind, but because it impacts the world on a greater scale. Like each of you have such a beautiful, beautiful gift to bring to this world, and it's the way that you uniquely share it that makes that kind of an impact, that massive impact. You could be serving 5 people or 5 million people, and you'll still be making a huge impact because it's that connection that really, really makes a difference, right? So I just want to note, like, as we go through this program, because this is the second week of onboarding, like things are really exciting right now. We're like building the momentum. We're just starting out. But as we go through the program, there might be times where like your energy dips down or where you start to question, can I really do this? Like, can I really get over this hump? Because even though like we're here to support each other, it doesn't mean that challenges are not going to come up. It doesn't mean that change isn't going to happen. It doesn't mean that you know, everything is going to be like good and gravy from now on, right? But the good news is that you have the support and you have the community here. So I really want to encourage you guys, like, especially in those moments when you are feeling like a lack of belief in yourself and your vision, when you want to quit, when you want to back down, when you're feeling confused, like reach out to this community because I'm here to support you. We're here to support you. And so more than likely, we've all experienced what you're experiencing. And so it can just help us feel less alone when we stop to connect with each other. And it can be like the make or break thing too. If we're in this place of feeling fear, feeling discomfort, wanting to back out, wanting to back down, just taking that moment to say, I'm feeling this way. I don't know if it matters. I don't know if anyone will connect with this. I don't know if it's too much to share, right? All these things might come into our mind, but taking that moment to just reach out and say, I'm having a hard time. I need some support can be that make or break moment of like helping you move through that to the next chapter. It's always on that edge of like, I don't know if I can do it, where we're just right on that edge of the breakthrough, the upgrade, the next level that we've been manifesting and working towards. So I just wanted to remind you guys of that and bring that to the table as something to keep in mind as we move forward. Cool. So thanks so much for being here. You guys being on here live makes a big difference and super, super grateful you're here. So today we're going to dive into some really great exercises on how to help you get crystal clear on your offer and also how to manage your leads. So today we're talking about connected containers. And a container is sort of like a vessel. It's sort of like, you know, the bowl that holds the water. It's the space that we create to nurture and connect with other people and to share our gifts with them. A container can be so many things. It can be the community, the environment that you're building on your social media platforms. It can be the way that you interact with an audience during an in-person event or through an online event. It can be just the way that you set up and structure your offer, and it can be the way that you're communicating that offer with other people as well. So this is a super, super important pillar. All of them are important. All the pillars in this mastermind are important. They all feed into each other, but this one is especially important because we are talking about connecting with people. That is like really the root of everything we're doing. So before we can start looking for leads on social media or in person, we need to have two very, very important pieces in place. One of them being a crystal clear offer that meets the needs of a group of people. And two, a way to actually organize and keep track of your conversations and lead generation for you and for them. So today we're going to talk about both, but we're going to take it one step at a time. And just so I can see where everyone is at, because I know some people are a little bit more clear, some people are still figuring it out. If you guys could type in the chat, how clear do you feel about your offer? And we can do red light, yellow light, green light. So green is like, I'm super, super clear about my offer. I know exactly what I'm offering. I know the tools, the support, the model. I know how I communicate it with people. Yeah, Amanda said red, and that's totally fine. And Jean is at yellow. Yeah, so those are perfectly fine places to be. And my goal is that by next week, after implementing some of the things we talk about today, you guys are you know, Amanda, maybe you'll be a yellow, Gina, maybe you'll be a green. And just like, again, with anything, nothing is ever set in stone. So like, I encourage you guys to go through this exercise I'm about to share and keep in mind that you can always make little tweaks based on what feels best for you. So my goal is ultimately to help you guys both get into the green with your offer. But for some of you, you know, it might take more time. For some of you, it might take less. That's just kind of the roadmap of how it goes sometimes. So there are a few things to consider when we are looking at a good offer. The first question is, who actually needs what I have to offer, and who do I want to work with? So this is where that ideal client worksheet I sent you guys in an email is going to really come in handy. And again, this is something that can shift and change with time. It's not a set in stone thing, but it can help you start to get more clarity on who you're actually speaking to and who you want to work with. Because ultimately, we could work with anybody, everybody, if we really wanted to. But I think it's super important for energetic hygiene and just getting clear in your boundaries, and also for clarity in your messaging and your communication, to have some kind of clarity on who you're talking to, who you are connecting with. So as you start to put yourself out there, as you start to talk to more people, as you start to, you know, actually run your offer and get people engaged with what you're doing, the data might change. You know, you might start working with someone who you thought was your total ideal client. And then you get in and you start to see some qualities, you start to see some things that aren't as ideal for you, and things that you would like to take note of as you move forward. Those are things that I would recommend adding to your ideal client worksheet as you go along, taking note of those things. It doesn't mean this is like a terrible client, I need to stop working with them, but it means, okay, I'm considering this. Like, what feels really good for me? Because as always with all of this, it's super important that we are connecting to our energy within everything we do. So if you have no idea where to start, like Amanda, I know that you're just starting out creating your offer. So if you have no idea where to start, just choose something that seems interesting and start exploring. Like, you don't have to think too much about it. If you want to work with people who are interested in holistic health, great. That's a great place to start. If you want to work with people who are interested in farming, that's a great place to start. If you're interested in working with people who are in the corporate world, that's a great place to start. Amanda, I see that you raised your hand. Do you want to share anything? Or are you just saying like, yeah, that's me? Or maybe it was an accident. Okay, let me know. I'm going to keep moving, but if there's anything you want to share, just let me know. So market research is also a really great way to get clarity on this if you're not sure where to start. It's also a great way to gain clarity on this if you've already started and you just want to redefine who you want to work with. Amanda, are you there?
Sorry. Wait.
It's okay.
Can you? No, I'm sorry. I can't remember now. You're right. It was an accident, and then I was trying to turn on my sound so that I could tell you that, and it wasn't working. Anyway, that's all.
All good, all good. Thanks for tuning in, letting me know.
I will mute myself again.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, market research is a great way to gain clarity no matter where you're at. So you can do this by reaching out to people on social media and offering something free in exchange for a short conversation. And during that conversation, you have a set of questions where you're going to ask them just things about themselves, their lives, their business, whatever relates to the niche and the offer that you are exploring. Those are the kind of questions you wanna ask. And honestly, ChatGPT is a great resource for this. If you just say, this is the kind of people that I'm looking to connect with, what are 10 questions I can ask them to get a deeper understanding of who they are, where they're at, and what they need. It's super important to get a deeper understanding of where they're at, where they want to go, and what their need is in that space in between when you do market research. And this is something we can go deeper into as well. But I just wanted to put that out there as an option when you're getting started. So the second thing that we want to consider when looking at our offer is, what is the transformation that I'm providing? And this is where, if you're doing market research, getting crystal clear on that need that the person has to get from where they are to where they want to go, that's how you provide the transformation. But the transformation is step A to step B, right? Like on the timeline, where they are to where they want to go. So getting crystal clear on what that transformation is going to help you understand like how you actually provide what you're offering. Where are they currently at? What are they struggling with? What are they doing really well also is super helpful to understand. So the third thing to understand when looking at creating your offer or clarifying your offer is, okay, well, how will I get them there? What are the specific tools, support, products, and resources that I'll offer them? What are the different scenarios that might come up that I can offer? Like for you, Gina, it might be water trial. It might be like a loaner machine. It might be, you know, there's so many different ways that you can offer support and tools and services, like through that process of somebody making the decision. Or even like once they have decided to purchase with you, once they've decided to invest in your offer, how are you showing up to support them and nurture them as a client after they buy from you? So how will the support help them get to where they want to be? And what do I feel available to provide? That's also super important to make sure you're not over promising. We really want to like under promise, over deliver. It's like such a classic rule when it comes to running a business and providing a service or a product. Like, just this is what you're getting, and then you kind of know in the back of your head, and I'm also going to provide you this. So the fourth thing that we want to look at is, what's the structure of the offer? Like, how am I actually going to deploy and actually follow through with the support tools and resources that I'm offering them? What's my process? And how can I streamline that for myself so that I can show up for more people more consistently? Because that's super important. None of us want to get to a place where we've hit a cap and we can't serve any more clients, because we're really focused on making that impact, right? So like, we want to be able to set up systems and structures underneath us that help us provide for them more consistently at a larger scale. And then considering like, how long does this support last, right? What's the timeline of this? If you're selling a product and there's a timeline of like helping them with install, helping them get set up with that product, like how long does that support last? Is that an ongoing thing where if they have future challenges, they can reach out to you? Is that something that you don't want to offer, right? Maybe it's like pretty time consuming. Or maybe you offer it and then people are just, they're good. But it's going to depend. It's going to depend on who you're working with and what your personal boundaries are. So that's super important to look at as well. And then, of course, the fifth thing that we want to look at when building or clarifying our offer is, what's the price? Like, being super clear on the price is super important, and not just what's the price, but what payment plans can I offer? What financial resources can I offer to them if they need help learning, like affording what I'm offering? And also, you're looking at your ideal client is going to help you even inform these decisions. Because if you're working in the corporate world and people have tons of money and they really need your thing, then it's likely you won't need to offer a payment plan or different variations of a payment plan. But if you're working with more people who maybe don't have as many resources available for them, maybe they are a teacher or they are working in a nonprofit, right? These are situations where you might need to get a little more flexible with what you can offer. Maybe they're just starting out and they don't have a lot of resources available, right? So that's something that you also want to consider when looking at your pricing and the way that you can structure payment plans. And Gina, I know for you, since you're working with a product, you don't have as much flexibility of what you can offer with the payment plans, but knowing really clearly, like, what are my options? What resources do I have? How can I send people to get support with that? What's the process of like helping someone get a loan? Do you even want to take on that responsibility? You know, looking at those things. And also just for your specific business, Gina, like, I've seen people even do like, if you buy this product by this time, I'll throw in this for free. So you can also have that, like, some incentives that you offer within your business that you feel comfortable with, right? That makes sense for you. So you want to look at what's the top dollar. Like, we want to sell to the top of the market, whoever our ideal client is. We want to try to, shoot for the top of the top of that market for the top tier of our pricing. And then consider, like, what's the lowest amount that you'd be happy with. Think of it kind of like a sliding scale where your top number is going to be your public facing number. And this is for, like, if you're building your own offer. You have the top dollar, that's your public facing price. But then you have your low tier amount, which is like the lowest that you'd be happy to make with it. And so between that space, you have room to adjust and come up with payment plans to meet people where they're at. And by offering this, by being able to do this, you'll be able to make so much more money in your business than someone who's like, this is my price, this is what it is. Because you have more flexibility of how you can work with people and how you can meet them where they're at and still provide them with the value. So you're making the impact, you're making more money, and everyone's happy, right? So this could be considered a scholarship. It could be considered a lot of different things. But it's super important to be crystal clear on this so that when you go into a sales call, you're not like, yeah, you can pay me like $200. That doesn't feel very clear or confident. They might even question if you value yourself, if you know what you're offering. So it's super important to get clear on that. So all of these things, like, this is kind of a lot to consider, especially if you're just starting out building your offer. So a really nice way to get clear on this is to put it into a visual format. You guys saw this during my 2-day event when I walked you through red light, yellow light, green light. That is my model that I put together for my mastermind to help me get really clear on how I'm offering support in this space. So I'm going to share with you guys my example in a minute. But even if you sell a product like you do, Gina, I think it's still really, really helpful to do this, especially if you want to build a team at any point, because this is something you can pass on to them. And it's something that, like, when you're on your sales calls, you can have this up as a visual of, like, I know exactly how I'm going to help this person get from step Step 1 to step 2 to step 3 to step 4. So often people don't buy because they don't understand like the journey that they're about to go through. And they question like, well, if I get to step B, how do I know that I'll be able to get to step C? How do I know that I'll be able to get through that timeline? How do I know that I'll be supported? So let me pull up this example for you guys. And I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So when you're working on your model, and this is going to be part of the homework for you guys, part of the action steps for this week is to build your own model. You want to first look at what are the main pillars of the service I'm providing.
Hey, get down, man.
Is that your kitty, Gina?
Yeah, I have a pet. I live like up on the second story, and so I let my cat out on the patio, and every once in a while she'll jump up on the banister. She's normally really good, but she jumped up there, and I hate when she does that because it's no good.
Yeah, super nerve-wracking.
Sorry.
It's okay. So, like I was saying, the first thing that you want to look at when you're building your offer are these pillars. So mine are mindset mastery, creative strategy, connected containers, that's where we're at today, optimized outcomes. And all of these things feed into each other to give the ultimate outcome, which is your embodiment of a radiant presence for your online business, right? So on this page, I have this up when I'm connecting with people on discovery calls, whenever I am pitching the mastermind, whenever I'm talking about it. This is something I use all the time. So the first thing is these pillars. And you don't have to have 4, you can have 3. I would say max 4, just because if you have 5, it can get a little bit chaotic with all the things. But usually 3 to 4 is a good number to have with your pillars. And then you want to understand what's the ultimate transformation that you're bringing people to. So then within each pillar, we have 3 outcomes. So through mindset mastery, my goal is for you guys to experience healthy boundaries, getting really clear on establishing your healthy boundaries, to establish self-trust with yourself, and to embody your mission. And this goes through all the way, right? We have simplified systems, consistent content, and time freedom for creative strategy. Those are the outcomes. So in these sections, we're not explaining how we're going to get people somewhere to where they want to go. This is, what is the vision? If you're in the health and wellness field, maybe this could be different areas of life. Your pillars could be different areas of life that you want to help them experience health in. So maybe it's physical health, emotional health, mental health. And within those pillars, you're saying, what's the outcome of physical health? More energy, more clarity, right? So I want you guys to really consider, what are the main things that I'm providing, and then what are the outcomes that these pillars are going to be bringing people, because we want people to be focused on the vision of like where they want to go. So then over here, I have the tools that I offer, the training experience. If you're not in coaching, this could be like, what is the product experience that I'm providing? What's the journey, the customer journey? And then the support. If you have a product, like, am I offering install support? Do I do refunds? Do I offer returns? Like, you know, what are some of the things that you need to offer to make sure your client feels really supported through their process of buying and setting up their product? So this week, you guys are going to create your own model. And also I did put down here also my pricing. So I have like the main price for the program, and then I have the floor price, which is like the lowest that I'm willing to go. And then I have the payment plans, and it's a 6-month love it or leave it. So there's a renewal process. That's great to have for clarity. So before we move on, does anyone have any questions about the model and how to create that that little visual to get you really clear on your offer, or any aha like takeaways, reflections?
I don't have any questions. I definitely will have to go back and watch this one when I'm filling that form out.
Yeah.
Are you gonna make a template of that we can just fill out with our own offer, or should we just create one in Canva?
Yeah, so I don't have a template for it, and I want you guys to be creative with this.
Okay.
You can use Canva for it. You can draw it out on pen and paper if that works better for you, and just take a picture of it. Yeah, because you can do 3 pillars, 4 pillars. You don't have to use a circle shape for your model. You can use a water droplet. You could use a heart. You could use a diamond or a triangle. Like, whatever kind of feels good and makes sense for your niche. I want you to personalize this to like your vibe, right? Like, my model has like my brand colors on it. It has kind of like little icons and things that I like to use for my brand. And that's just a nice way also to get like this clarity of like, well, what is my brand vibe? Like, what is the vibe of this offer? What is the vibe of this program? And if you have multiple offers, you'll have multiple models as well. So yeah, does that clarify?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Amanda, do you have any reflections, ahas, or questions?
Sorry. Sorry, I just walked in the door. Questions. I think it'll help when I can actually, I'm going to watch the replay of this part so that I can actually look at what you were showing us. But no, nothing in particular. I'm just appreciating everything in general that you're saying right now. I think it's really helpful. Yeah. So.
Perfect. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And that's why we have these replays. So you guys can go back and watch it again and again and again and again. You can always revisit it down the road. It'll be available for you. So awesome. If there's no other questions, then we can go ahead and move on to the CRM database and looking at how we're going to organize and keep track of all of our leads. So I do have 2 Notion templates for you guys.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this too. This is such a foundational piece of business, okay? And as you guys grow, you might want to transition over to another CRM database system. There's lots of different options out there. There's HubSpot, there's FlowChat, there's like a million different things that you could use. I personally love using the Notion one because it is so customizable and it fits in with all of my other systems I already have in place. So the templates I have for you today are within Notion, but just keep in mind you can take the same concept and you can take it anywhere you want to if that feels right. So yeah, once you have your offer super crystal clear, that's when you can really go out and start making connections with the intention of like, connecting and seeing if it's a fit for your offer. Whether you're finding leads through social media or in person, it's super important to have this organized system and list to keep track of the connections. Otherwise, you'll lose track of who said what, who needs what, who wants what, and when to actually follow up with them. And the gold is in the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up. This is like the highest income producing activity you could possibly do for your business, even before posting content. Like if you're in between like following up with people in your business and posting a reel, like follow up with people. Most important. Of course, content is important too, because that's going to help us generate new leads and more trust and connection with the people who we're following up with or connecting with. But keeping that consistent personal connection with people is so important. So I'm going to drop 2 links in the chat. This first one is a magic specific CRM for people who are working with water filtration and ionization. Gina, this is your CRM.
Love it.
Yeah, this is specifically designed with a funnel and specific tags for that kind of business. So I think that's going to be set up for you really well. For any other offer, for any other business, whether it's coaching, coaching, done for you services, this is going to be the other CRM that has a little bit more like wiggle room for you to explore with. So I'm going to open up that one just because it's going to resonate with, I think, a wider variety of people. And we'll walk through it together so you can see how to use it. Okay. So, whoops. That is the wrong page. Here we go. The template. There it is. Okay, and once this video has been edited, I'm going to put this walkthrough in the template so it can be referenced, but you guys will also have this in your hub within the replay. So first off on this page, we have the actual sales funnel. And this view is so helpful for keeping track of like where people are at. Depending on your business, you're going to want to probably change these into what makes sense for you. Does anyone not know what a sales funnel is? You know what a sales funnel is? Okay, cool. So yeah, depending on what you're actually doing in your funnel, you're going to change these. And we can change that by going in. Well, since this is a template, I'm just going to duplicate it real quick so you guys can see exactly how it would look on your end. So once we duplicate it, we'll pull it up and then we can make our edits. So to change these, we can literally just click on them and then change them to whatever it is. You might have this process of engaging with them on social media. You might have something for connecting in person, whatever your start point is. And then what's the next step? What's the next step to invite them into learning more about your offer and learning more about who you are and what you do? For me, for my business, that process is inviting them to my 2-day event. After they've gotten that invitation, and let's just do a little example. So let's say I've connected with Jimmy on Instagram and we've been talking for a little bit, we've been connecting, and I send him that invite for my 2-day event. I'm going to drag him right over to invited. So now I know Jimmy's been invited to the event. I'm going to now follow up with him differently than I would when we're in the engagement phase. And sometimes the follow-up is another level of engagement, depending on where you're at in the conversation. So then my next step is having them schedule their pre-interview call, that confirmation call, to connect, to make sure and see if it's even a good fit. So once they've scheduled that and I have them confirmed, they're coming over here to scheduled pre-interview event. If something happens and we need to reschedule that call, then they're going to come over here. So I can see really clearly, like, who do I need to follow up with in a timely manner to make sure they get that call rescheduled. Once they have confirmed their dates and times for my event, usually there's another one here that says confirm dates and times, and then it has the actual dates that they've confirmed for. And I have it set up like that because I have an automation in my backend that automatically sends them the confirmation email and all of the reminder emails. But again, this is going to look different depending on how you want to run your offer in your business. Once I know they've attended the full event, they go here, post feedback call, and you get the point. It moves on from there. So if we actually click on Jimmy's name, it's going to open up the full profile. So I'm going to always, every time I talk to this person, make sure that I'm logging the last contacted date, because that's going to give me clarity on, like, when was the last time that I even talked to them. And then from there, we're going to do the next follow-up date. And generally, a good rule is 3 days. So I'm going to give it 3 days. Since there's a weekend, I'm just going to follow up on Monday. You can put in their social media platforms. So where are you connecting with them? Are they from Instagram, Facebook? Are they a referral from an in-person connection? And you can always add new options here by just typing. And when you click enter, it'll create a new one, and you can always drag and drop it wherever you want. And you can change the color here. So let's say Instagram for this one. And let's say his Instagram account is just Jimmy Loves Life, because who doesn't? And this is super, super, super important. Like, when you're first reaching out to people, do not forget to put in their social media handle here, because Instagram specifically will only show you like 30 days of messages. So if you haven't heard from Jimmy in a month, you're not going to be able to find him. If you have reached out to more people since the last time you talked to Jimmy, you're not going to be able to find him by just searching his name in Instagram. So having this will allow you to always find them, unless they change their Instagram handle. And if that's the case, then there they go. And that's happened to me before. But that's also why it's important to, like, reach out to a good amount of people when you're doing your DM strategy, because you're not everyone's going to be a good fit. Not everyone is going to respond. Not everyone is going to be interested. So it's super important to make sure you're having, like, a consistent amount of new reach outs going on. So then we can put in their email, their phone number, and their time zone once they've scheduled that first call with us, and we have that information that can get logged in here. And then later, once you're in the sales process, you can fill this in, like, what's the offer that you pitched to them? Was it a done-for-you service? Was it a group offer? Was it one-to-one? And again, you can add your own options in here as well. This just helps you keep track of what you've already offered them if you have multiple offers. And then you can also track the pay in full price of this account so that you understand, like, kind of what kind of sales you're doing in your business. So if you start working with virtual assistants and you start having a team of people helping you with your reach out, they can communicate with you in the comments here, where they can say, hey, reached out to Jimmy, no response. Next follow-up is an engagement. So then you can understand kind of what's going on with your team and what's going on specifically for this profile. So then if we scroll down even more, I have some templates here. If you are wanting to do an event strategy similar to what I do, then there are pre and post event scripts here already set up in the CRM database. When you click on these templates, it loads the content. So then you have the whole script, everything that you need to do for the confirmation call. You have the whole post-interview script process right here as well. So that means like when you're on your calls, you are never like lost or confused or unprepared for what is happening on the call. You always kind of have your guideline. And of course, like the more you can memorize these scripts, the better your processes are going to go. But it's super helpful to have this and a place to take notes. So of course, if you want to change this or make your own templates for whatever makes sense for you, I'm going to leave Jimmy's profile. And if I come over to this blue button that says new and I click the drop down, this is where I can edit or create new templates. So if I want to edit it, I'm just going to click on the three dots and click edit. Okay, and then I can come in here and I can change whatever it is and it will update. If I want to make a new one, you just click new template and you can put whatever you want in here. I definitely recommend using the toggle headings if you're putting multiple things in the template. That way you can just like easily close things up and make it super clean. So you don't just have this wall of text you're having to like scroll past every time. You need to go in and use this notes section. And also important to note, if you're going to make your own template, if there's multiple steps that you want to have for your template, you just need to put them all in one template because you can't add another template to the notes section after you've already loaded one in. So that's why I have the pre-interview call script and the sales call script in one template with those toggle headings. Okay. So there's a couple of different ways that you can view this CRM as well. Like this is the sales funnel view. And also there's some other things here that are hidden. So if you ever need to look at that, you can just click on it and it'll show. Or if you want to change what's visible and how it's organized on your sales funnel, or with any of these views, when you click on it up here, you can always click edit view. Come over here, and then you're going to go to group where it says status. So this is telling you how this view is organized. And then you can see it has all of the status cards here. And then you can just drag and drop them to reorganize them. You can hide them by clicking the little eyeball. You can unhide them and adjust. And there's lots of different settings you can play with in here, like filters or sorts, which is really great if you're trying to if you consistently need to see a specific collection of information. For example, if I'm over here in this list view, this is going to show just in a list like all of the contacts in this database. But I want to see like who do I need to follow up with next, or who did I miss a follow-up for? I'm just going to put another one in here so that we can see what that looks like. Okay, so let's say I want to see the next follow-up dates, like the most recent dates at the top. I can click on sort and then go to next follow-up and change it to ascending or descending. So ascending means like the most recent date's going to come up. So that's June 10th. That means I need to go back and follow up with that person because I missed the follow-up. So now I can make sure that no one's getting left behind. And you can even create a new view of this database and apply this sort or a filter. Like maybe I want to just show who I need to follow up with today. And then see, we have Jimmy here. So there's lots of different ways you can play with the filters and the sorts on these. The list view is great if you want to see just like a streamlined view. You just want to go through each person. The sales funnel is really great if you want to see where they're at in the process. And I have an event funnel here, and I also have a one-to-one funnel because it's a slightly different process. Like if I'm just inviting them to a discovery call, that's basically the same thing as the confirmation call. This is when we're just getting to know each other, right? Reschedule, closing call, that's your sales call. So it's a similar process, but slightly different looking funnel. And then I just have the contact list laid out here for you as well. This is where you can play with the funnels, you can make different views of the database, etc. And then there's a follow-up calendar here, which is great if you're coming in and you're just focused on getting through your follow-ups for the day. It's in a weekly view, so it's not too overwhelming. But you can see, you know, Jimmy's here. His follow-up's on the 17th, so you can easily just go in, see his profile, change what you need to change, and go from there. So that's your CRM database. Obviously, if you're using the Enagic specific database, it's going to look slightly different as far as what some of the cards, what some of the information says, but it's all the same concept. So does anyone have any questions or ahas or anything they want to share about that database?
I have a question, but it's not really about what you're teaching us right now, but it is about the database because you'll blah, blah. How are you deciding like your timeline for when you're going to follow up with someone to decide what you're putting that in it as?
Yeah, great question. So as a general rule, I do 3 days. But sometimes I'll do longer depending on the situation, depending on the conversation I'm having. So it takes some level of discernment. And it's going to vary on a case-by-case situation. But for example, if I'm talking to somebody and they're like, hey, I'm going to be traveling for a month. I'm taking a month off work. So I don't really have time for this right now. I'll say, okay, no worries. Like, have so much fun on your trip. Like, I'll check in with you when you get back. And I'll just set their follow-up date for sometime around like next month when I know they're going to probably be back from their trip. And sometimes even in the meantime, I'll do a follow-up. Like if it's a month, that's a pretty long time to not have any contact with somebody. So I'll do maybe 2 weeks, but I'll write a note for myself in the comments and say next follow-up engagement. And what that means for me is I'm going to respond, like reply to one of their stories that they post. I'm going to comment on one of their pictures. I'm going to just go to their page and like check in with what they're doing, where they're at, and then engage with that content in some way. So I'm not even sending them a message like, hey girl, how's it going? Like, are you back from your trip yet? I'm just like, hey, I'm still interested in like who you are and what you're doing. I'm just like letting you know. And they might not even see that engagement until they get back, but then they'll see this person actually kind of cares about me and what I'm posting and what I'm talking about. They're not just trying to sell me a thing. They're not just trying to pitch me a thing. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, reflections, ahas?
I have another question.
Yeah, go for it.
Something like there's sort of two things that matter to me right now, which is like one is more the reason that I joined this, like me trying to figure out what I want to do and offer and all of that. And then on the other hand, like I am a consultant for Arbonne, which is like they're not the same thing, but they're both relevant to the things that you teach us.
Yeah.
If I wanted to use the CRM database for my Arbonne related stuff, do you think that's going to be more similar to a Enagic or more similar to the general template that you gave us? Just knowing that a Enagic is also like something that sells a product
Yeah,
for like networking and stuff.
great question.
And if you don't have the answer right now, that's okay too.
I'm just going to open it up real quick and look at it for a second, because the tags, like, regardless, you're going to want to change the tags that are in there and what they say. With Arbonne, are you building like a team of business builders? Or are you mostly just focused on selling the products?
It's up to you, but obviously, like, it is like network marketing, so you'll enjoy the business more if you build a team.
For sure. So, do you want to build a team?
Maybe.
Okay. So, I think that I would take a look at it. I would invite you to take a look at both of them and see which one you like better. And it might make sense for you to have two different CRM databases for your two different businesses.
Yeah.
The Arbonne stuff is kind of like on its own. That's going to be a totally different funnel and like conversation than like your personal offerings as a Reiki practitioner.
Yeah.
And whatever else you decide to bring forward, which I'm super excited for you about. So yeah, just take a look and see what makes sense. In the Enagic CRM, there's definitely stuff that's more like water related. Like there's a property for filter renewal date, so we can track like when do we need to follow up with people, make sure they're changing their filter. But there's also some like network marketing specific things as well, like whether or not they're affiliated. The status, are they like a business builder? Do I need to help them set up anything? So yeah, just take a look at that and see what makes sense, and then maybe you end up using both for separate things.
Cool. Thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions, reflections?
Do you have the filter renewal date at the top, like such as, you know, name, next follow-up, status? Is it one of those? Or is it a button? Because I don't have that anywhere, or maybe I'm missing it.
It's at the very bottom. So if you open up the profile, it's at the very, very bottom of the property.
Oh, no way. Oh my gosh, I have never noticed that. Wow.
So
okay.
I set that, Gina, for like roughly a year out. But for some people, like if they have well water, you're going to want to check in with them like after 6 months.
Okay.
Usually.
So when you're putting a date in there, will you not see that date unless you open that profile up?
Yes, and what I like to do is I like to set an alarm. So I'm going to share my screen for this. When I set the filter renewal date, see how on this one there's that little like alarm button? And I think because this is in a template view, it's not letting me edit it. But when you click on a date at any time, there's an option to click on remind me, some kind of reminder thing. I can't remember exactly what it says, but it'll say like remind me about this, and then you can choose like what time you want Notion to send you a reminder.
Oh, I see that. Okay.
Any of those reminders are going to show up. Like if I come back over here, Any of those reminders are going to show up in your inbox over here.
Oh, okay.
And so then you can see, like, you'll get a little notification like, hey, Joe needs to change his filter, and then you can reach out and follow up specifically about that.
Okay.
And make sure, you know, with multi-peer, make sure you get they get set up with the subscribe and save situation.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, cool. Well, I want to lay out your game plan and action items for the week. And then, Amanda, I want to circle back with you and hear a little bit about just how you're doing with everything from last week. But we'll circle back to that. And I know we have our one-on-one session later too, so we can go deeper. But for this week, I want to see you guys working on your offer model, like the example I showed on today's training. And I'll put that example for you guys in the hub as well, so you can reference it and see what it's like. And if you have any questions about that, like specifically for your business, feel free to reach out and we can kind of workshop it together. And once you're done, or you feel like you've gotten it to like a drafted place, or you just have something together, I want you to post it in the Slack channel, and I'll review it and let you know if I have any feedback, or if it's like totally approved and good to go. And that way you just get some other eyes on what your offer model is set up for. The second thing for this week is to set up your CRM database. So if that means taking, you know, a spreadsheet you've been using and transferring all your people over into this system, or just going in and changing the tags, exploring like, what do I want my sales funnel to be like? Because if you don't have clarity on that, it's super, super, super important to understand how you're taking people from a stranger to a trusting client. What's the process to get people there? So maybe setting up your CRM database is like getting clear on your funnel and then changing all the little tags in there to make sense for your business. And then I want you guys to stay consistent with tracking your social media habits and plan a week of social media content, which is going to be a consistent action item for us all, because I want us to be, I know that's a goal that the whole group has, is to be more consistent on social media. So I'm going to also invite everyone to plan a week of social media content out. Okay. Of course, if you guys have any questions, reach out in the chat. If there's anything that comes up for you, let me know in the chat. And I'm super excited to see what you guys create.
I have a quick question, just since we were talking about CRM things.
Yeah.
How many times of ghosting do you not follow up with that person, or how many no's do you get? Two-part question.
Yeah, this is a really great question. Really good question. So I like to use the number 3 because it feels just like a number that makes sense for me in a lot of this messaging strategy. So I will do 3 follow-ups with that person that are like, hey, I'm checking in, I'm sending you a message. I might do more follow-ups in engagements, but if I send 3 messages in a row to someone, following up with them like, hey, I'm just circling back to this, hey, just want to bring this to the top of your feed, hey, just checking in, how are you doing? And they're not responding, that's when I put them into the no response field on my database. And I will even go back into the no response. Like sometimes people will just take a month to even respond, and then they'll come back and they'll be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to miss your message. So I never delete anyone out of my database. I just put them into a no response or not a fit or a no list. Because sometimes people will come back up. Sometimes I'll go in and be like, just check in and see like, is this person okay? You know, or like, has anything changed for them? Or maybe just asking for feedback. So in regards to no's, how many no's do you go with before leaving it alone? Again, I generally go with three no's. So the first no usually is a pretty good indicator that they don't have enough information. So I will send another message that's something like, hey, I know you probably get messages like this all the time in your messages, and I totally understand that. I just want to let you know. And then I share a little bit more about what I'm offering them or what I'm inviting them to. And sometimes, and then I end with a question, of course, like, does that change anything for you, or are you still a no for now? Just to get deeper clarity on what's coming up for them, why they're saying no. Because a lot of people they'll get a DM and they'll just be like, no. And they don't even know that I'm just like trying to give them something for free. I'm not trying to like sell them, you know? And then sometimes people will come back around and say, oh, that actually makes sense. I actually do need that. Or they'll ask for more information from there. And that will reveal for you like more questions and more of a conversation. If I get a second no, that's usually when I go in with a voice message and I say, hey, I totally understand, like, and I really respect that. I respect your no, because I don't want to come off as pushy to anybody. I respect your no. I'm just curious because it'll help me improve what I'm doing, and it's really important for me that I stay in integrity with my process. Would you be open to sharing some feedback on why you're saying no to this offer? And most of the time, people will come back and they'll say, I just don't have time right now, which then reveals more of a clear objection that I can handle. Oh, you don't have time right now? Well, no worries. Like there's multiple dates you can sit on. You know, for my example, like, can I follow up with you in a few weeks? Ask consent for the follow-up at that point. Or I'll say, no worries, like I have an on-demand version of the event that you can watch in your own time and still receive the same value. Does that change anything for you? So the voice messages are really powerful, especially if anyone is getting like pissed off that you've reached out to them and they're like, no, stop messaging me. I will send a voice message and just be like, hey, I'm so sorry that like you're feeling this way. And just expressing like my intention in connecting with them. And once people hear my voice, it disarms them because they're like, oh, you're a real person. Oh, you really care. Oh, okay, like this is what this is. I have more clarity. And sometimes they'll still say no. I just don't think this is the right fit for me. I'm not looking for this. And that's when I go, okay, well, thanks so much for being open to receiving this invitation. Thanks so much for having a conversation with me. I genuinely wish you all the best in everything you're doing, and I'll be cheering you on. Let me know if anything changes because I would love to have you be a part of this event. And then I put them in the not a fit or the no list.
Okay, that helps a lot. Can you further explain what your no list looks like? Because what I started doing in my CRM is I will just put a little ghost icon in front of their name so that I know not to bug them, but it's not the best system because it just junks my CRM up. So I'm curious to see how you do it.
Yeah, let's see. Go ahead and pull mine up with all of my stuff in it, and I can show you. So So if I'm in my sales funnel view and I have all these people in here, my no list I have hidden so it's not like junking up my full view of everything. If I click on this, then I can see, oops, it's being a little slow. Then it'll pull everyone up.
Okay.
And I can go in and look at where they're at. Like for example, this person doesn't have a lot of notes, so that's not really a great example. But sometimes there will be comments, and you can see like I have a no list, but then I also have a not a fit and a no response. So like no response is more like they ghosted me, they're just not responding to messages, or maybe they're not like on active on social media. That's also a thing that happens a lot. People won't be active for a period of time, they're not responding, but then they come back like 2 months later and they're like, hey, I never saw this. So then I can pull them out of the no response list. Not a fit is like I've reached out to them, I've had a conversation with them, and we've both like understood and decided that it's just not a fit. Like they're not in a place where they need what I'm offering. Maybe there's like an energetic thing that just doesn't feel right for me, and I'll put them in not a fit. If they're like being super aggressive towards me, it's like at a certain point, like yes, we want to dive deeper into like why someone's saying no, but if they're being like super aggressive and they're just like, I will not buy anything from you, I'm like, I don't really want to work with that energy anyways.
Yeah.
Because like, I invite people to my event like not expecting most people to convert to a sale, right? It's like only the people who are really meant to be here will end up here, and I'm so glad you guys are here. But yeah, so some people are just not a fit. And then the no list is like they've said no 3 times and they're just not giving me a reason for why they said no, or they've given me a reason and it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense for right now.
Okay. So for those 3 groups, obviously you're just looking at this in a particular view, but like, is that just their status, like up top? Is that what
Yes.
those 3 groups are a part of? Okay.
Yes. Well, let me go back here actually, because if I open it up, I can show you. Yeah, all of this is just based on the status of where people are at, and also like you can have multiple tags on one person. For example, if I have someone who's confirmed dates and times, I'm also going to add a tag for like what date they're coming to.
Okay.
So let me open this up
Can
again.
what view are you looking at the sales funnel on? Because I have mine set on board and it's not particularly pleasing to me.
Yeah.
Table. I might just have to play with it. Timeline, no. Oh, you look like you might have gallery view.
Well, let's look at it real quick while I have this open though, just so you can see.
Yeah.
When I click on this, it brings up all the status cards. So I could literally say no list and not a fit.
Okay. Yeah.
If it makes sense to do that.
Okay.
And then for the view, I'll open up my settings so you can see exactly what I have. Edit view, and then over here, it's important for the board view to go down to group and make sure that it's set to status.
Mm.
And then I like to have to do the color columns because it just helps my brain. So you can see the difference, like when I have the color columns on, it kind of highlights the whole thing instead of just the color at the top.
Cool.
And And then this is where you can adjust like the order of everything, how it actually shows up in this board view and what's hidden and what's not.
Okay.
But you can group this board view in by any of your properties. So if you even want to see like how many people are in a particular time zone, how many people are coming in from Instagram, how many people are coming in from Facebook, you can create different views grouped by different properties to show a particular, group of information.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that's why I love using Notion for this, because it is so customizable in those ways.
Mm-hmm.
If this was a normal spreadsheet, which this view is more of like a traditional spreadsheet. Oh my God. I used to manage my leads this way, just on a spreadsheet. And I would just go through and be like, I'd have to just like look for like whose date is scheduled for today. Okay. Like I was so disorganized. I lost out on so many sales because I just kept losing people. Or I'd be like, oh my God, it's been 3 months since I've talked to this person. And they said they were interested. Now they've bought from somebody else. So like having this is a game changer
Mm.
for your business.
Yeah. Even though I've been using Notion and like that exact template for months now, I definitely learned a couple of new things.
Awesome. I'm so glad. Yeah, sometimes like, and I'm always making tweaks to mine as well. Like if you just think about like what are you always like looking for when you need to look somebody up? What are the common things that you're looking for? Create a new view within your database, specifically with the group set for that property, that piece of information that you tend to look for a lot in your database.
Yeah.
That way you can just flip over to a tab and now you have all the information you need instead of having to like go in and search for things or anything like that.
Makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Amazing. Any last questions?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you.
Perfect. Amazing. Well, that wraps us up for week 2 of onboarding. I'm going to drop your game plan items, your action items in the chat. And remember to put your models in the chat. And of course, if you have questions, if you just want to like share a win or say, hey, I'm going to go do my offer model right now, I'm just dropping it in the chat to hold myself accountable. All of that is great. And we will be back next week, and we're going to be talking about sales. We're going to go deeper into the process of sales, how to navigate the sales conversation, sales calls, all of that next week. So you guys can look out for the replay of this in the training hub, and in like a couple of hours, I'll have it up there, along with all of the links and resources mentioned in this video.
Perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. See you guys soon. And Amanda, I'll see you on our one-on-one call.
Yep.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm excited to check in and hear how you're doing with everything.
Me too. I'm gonna wash all the dirt off me just in time to come back.
Okay, see you soon.
I see it.